In this section, we're going to solve the application problem involving quadratic equation. So in previous section, we learned how to solve quadratic equation. In this section, we see word problem, and we change that word problem into quadratic equation and solve that. Okay. So some tips before solving word problem. First of all, read the problem several times until you understand. That's very important. If you don't understand the question, then finding the right answer is very difficult. And now whenever you try to solve word problem, if there is something unknown, you have to pick a variable for that unknown. In our case, for this particular section, because we're trying to use quadratic equation, you have to introduce a variable like x and try to use given information such that you will be able to form a quadratic equation. And now finally, using the technique we learned in previous section, you have to solve quadratic equation, and then after that solution you have to go back and then answer the question. Let's see one example. The product of a number and one more than twice the number is 36. Find the two numbers. So product of a number and one more than twice the number. So here basically there are two numbers, one number and another number, which is one more than twice the number, twice this number, and their product is 36. So we don't know a number, the first number. So let's say the first number is x, and second number, by using this statement we have given, the second number is one more than. One more than means plus, twice than the number we introduce here. So second number should be 1 plus 2x. According to this problem, the product of x and 1 plus 2x is 36. So now if you just distribute this x, you're going to see that x plus 2x square equal 36. And if we just bring this 36 to the left side, we can rewrite this equation as a quadratic equation. Okay, so now this is the quadratic equation. If you want to solve this problem, you need to find the value of x. So finding the value of x means solving this equation. So we can use quadratic formula for solving this equation. The quadratic formula is negative b plus and minus square root of b square minus 4 times a times c divided by 2a if the quadratic equation is ax square plus bx plus c equals 0. So now we can compare this equation with the standard form. We can find out the a, which is in our case 2, b, which is in our case 1, c, which is in our case negative 36. If we plug this value a, b, c in this quadratic formula, we are going to get x equal negative b plus minus b square, which is 1, minus 4 times a times c, because c is negative, so it will be eventually plus 288. 4 times 36 times 2 is 288. Divide by 2 times a, which is 2 times 2 is 4. So if you simplify this one, it is actually 17 divided by 4. So one time if we use plus, it will be 16 over 4, and another time if we use minus, it will be negative 18 over 4, which is 9 over 2. So which is 4 and 9 over 2. So there are two numbers x, the value of x for this equation. There are two possibilities, 4 and negative 9 over 2. And now if we put x equal 4 and then another number is 1 plus 2 times 4, which is 9. So 4 times 9 is 36. That's true. In another case, if x is negative 9 over 2 and another number would be 1 plus 2 times negative 9 over 2, which is, if you simplify that, that will be 1 minus 9, which is negative 8. So if you multiply negative 9 over 2 and negative 8, that will also be positive 36. So both of these solution are, both of these solution will satisfy this statement here. So the product of a number and one more than twice the number. if you want to find out the two numbers, one is 4, another one is 9. 4 and 9 gives you 36, and in another case, -9/2 and -8 also gives you positive 36. So there are two solutions for this problem. Okay, look at another example. A toy rocket is launched at an initial velocity of 14.7 meter per second from a 49-meter tall platform. So there is a something, let's say a building which is 49-meter, and there is a toy rocket. Let's say this is the rocket, and it's launched, and it goes up, and after some time it will go down. That's the that's the path this toy rocket is taking. So now the height h of the object, so this is the height, at any time t seconds after launch is given by this function. So as you can see that this is including plus uh, 49. This is quadratic function, so which represents this path, this height of the this toy rocket. So height is -4.9 t square plus 14.7 t plus 49. So our goal is to find out when will the rocket hit the ground. That means we need to find out the time when this rocket hit the ground. So that means when this rocket comes here. That means when this height is 0. That means we want to solve this equation when height is 0. Height means this expression is 0. -4.9 t square plus 14.7 t plus 49 equals 0. So this is the quadratic equation, and we would like to find out the solution for this equation. So there is a quadratic formula we can use. Okay, so this is the quadratic equation, and we would like to solve it for time. So we can use the quadratic formula. So I'm going to just use the quadratic formula here. Make sure that a is -4.9, b is 14.7, and c is 49. If we compare this with the quadratic form, standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, then these are the value of a, b, and c. Now we're going to use the quadratic formula, which is time t equal -b plus minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2 times a. So in our case, b is -14.7, and b square negative 14.7 square would be 216.09 minus 4 times a times c. As you can see that a is -4.9 and c is 49, and then if you multiply them by 4, it will be plus, it's 960.4 divided by 2 times a. So a is -4.9, so if you multiply that by 2, that will be -9.8. So if you simplify on the top and then divide it by -9.8, it will give you two options, -2 and +5. But since time cannot be negative, so the only option we have is t equal 5. So time cannot be negative. So this height of this rocket would be 0 when time is 5 seconds. So that's the answer for this question. One more question. The length of a rectangle is 6 inch. So we can draw a rectangle. Let's say this is the rectangle. There is a length which is 6 inch, less than 4 times the width. So for example, we don't know the width, so we have to introduce a variable for the width. Let's say width is w. So length of the rectangle is 6 inch less than 4 times the width. So the length is 6 less than 4 times the width. So it's 4 times width minus 6. That's the length. Find the dimension of the rectangle if the area of the rectangle is 54 inches square. So we know area means it's a length time width. So length time width is 54 inches square. But we also know that length is 4 times width minus 6. So length is 6 less than 4 times the width. So if we just distribute this w here, it will be 4w square minus 6w equal 54. So this is also quadratic equation. So if you want to find the solution for this problem, so first of all we can just cancel out 2 because 2 is the greatest common factor. It will simplify our problem, and then bring this 27 to the left side. 2w square minus 3w minus 27 equals 0. So now we can solve this by using the quadratic formula or factoring method. Okay, so I'm going to use factoring method if it's possible. 2 times negative 27 is negative 54. I'm going to find out the two factors of negative 54 such that the sum is negative 3. So that is 9, negative 9 times 6. Negative 9 times 6, the sum is negative 3. So I'm going to just use that. So 2w square. If you don't like this factoring method, then you can always use that quadratic formula. Okay, so but I'm using the factoring method to give you the variety here. So now I split this 3w into negative 9w plus 6w, and I'm just going to use factoring by grouping method. So from first to the common factor is w, the leftover is 2w minus 9. From last to the common factor is 6. What did I do wrong here? Oh, it's not 6, it's a 27. So common factor is 3, not 6. So that will give me 2w minus 9. So now I do have two factors, 2w minus 9. This is common. So I factor out that. The leftover would be w plus 3. So now, by using the zero product property, either this is equal to 0 or this is equal to 0. 2w minus 9 equal to 0 or w plus 3 equals 0. If I solve this one, w would be 9 over 2. But if I solve this one, w would be negative 3. Remember, w stands for the width, but width cannot be negative, so we don't have to worry about this option. The only available option is w equal 9 over 2, which is 4.5 inch. So this is 9 over 2. And the length is 4 times the width, 4 times the width. So length is 4 times 9 over 2 minus 6. So if I simplify that, it's 9 times 2 is 18 minus 6 is 12. So length is 12 and width is 9 over 2. If you multiply 12 and 9 over 2, that will give you 54 as a area. So length is 12 inch and width is 9 over 2. So such that the area would be 12 times 9 over 2, which is 54 inches square. So that's true. So in this way we can solve word problem using quadratic equation.